Hello and welcome back to another episode of Come Over for Dinner. I'm Beth Hawthorne and I'm so excited you're joining me today. Today I have very special guests, plural. I have Ginger Elmore and two of her lovely daughters, Courtney and Trinity, and they are here to tell us all about the hospitality that they do in their home. The girls, of course, are an amazing help to their mom, Ginger. Welcome.
Thank you.
I'm going to tell you a little bit about some of the hospitality they do in their home. Let me back up and say that Ginger has been married to Jason for almost 30 years. It'll be 30 years in June. They have 9 children, 5 grandchildren, and how many are out of the house?
5.
5. Okay, so 5 grown and then a few more at home and high school and younger. And I got to throw out a hello to Deacon because their youngest, I had the privilege of teaching when he was in 2nd grade, and now he's in 4th grade. So he's growing up.
You're still one of his favorite teachers.
Oh, she had to say that. No, hopefully she didn't, because Deacon was so much fun to teach, and I enjoyed teaching 2nd grade so much. I'm actually not teaching 2nd grade anymore. I don't know if I've said that on the podcast. My 7th grandbaby was born this year, so I decided to take a break from teaching and have a little bit more of a flexible schedule. So it's very exciting times.
Yes.
Back to the hospitality that the Elmores do in their home. They have done lots of things over the years, but part of what they've done includes hosting a coffee hour after church and a midweek meal on Wednesday nights for their family, extended or grown kids and kids still at home. And the kids often invite friends over, maybe college students that they're in class with. And they've also hosted class parties when their kids have been class officers at Logos School. They've had swing dancing nights on the patio. They've taught new parent classes, which, of course, they are very qualified to teach with 9 children, raising 9 children. She's hosted innumerable bridal showers and baby showers. They just are very hospitable and open with their home, which is such a wonderful thing to see. So encouraging and inspirational. I need to definitely follow in your footsteps. So jump in and tell us a little bit more about you and the hospitality that you do and how your girls help you.
Well, when you asked me to do this, I immediately thought, I need my girls with me because they're so vital to our hospitality. Yeah. They are my right hands, and really, I've actually had to travel a lot this year. I have a daughter who is on the East Coast, and I have a daughter in Seattle, and my parents are on the East Coast, and they take over when I'm gone, and the meals continue to happen, and we still are able to host because of them. So
that's wonderful.
It is pretty amazing. So I'm very thankful for them. And then some of the things that we do, I feel like it's such a great privilege to be here in Moscow with our older kids who are in college and be able to be a part of their life and their community. And it really is special because when I think back to my college career, I was states away from my family. Mm-hmm. Went home at Christmas time, and that was it.
Yeah.
So I didn't see them. They weren't a part of my college life, and they didn't know any of my friends. So I'm very thankful that we're here and we're able to meet their friends, host them, just be a part of their life. Yeah. And so I think a big part of our hospitality is college students right now in this season of our life.
Which, what you describes a lot of college students. They are away from home. I mean, there's obviously some that are here, that their families are here, but the majority of them have traveled from numerous states away. So to have a home to go to that's just open and welcoming and yummy food to eat, I mean, what a way to be in community with those people. It's wonderful. So girls, how do y'all help? How do y'all just take over? Mom's gone and you just step right in. All the meals are done. Is this just years of training and just working beside your mom? Or do you have certain things in place, like when she leaves, like a certain schedule, a meal schedule that you have, like, okay, this is what we're going to make, or how do you do it?
Well, I think we always do, like, we have certain tasks that we excel in. So, like, I always do the bread for dinners or something like that.
Okay, and this is Trinity talking, by the way, everyone.
Yeah. Like, we have things that we excel in, so we'll do that. We just talk to each other and kind of delegate. It kind of just happens naturally because we have such a good mom who's taught us how to
make a
so
plan.
well. Yeah. So,
and you've done it so often and so well, it's just kind of habit now.
Yeah.
I think it was hard getting into the routine originally, but I think we're into a pretty solid routine at this point. And they each kind of have the things that they do. And Trinity definitely is our sourdough queen.
It's a good title.
never heard that one before.
You are now officially crowned.
She is.
So, yeah, she's usually in charge of the breads, and she also has a great eye for decorating. Yes. And so she often helps me set the table and make it look nice. And I would say Courtney excels in charcuterie. She often
nice. That's
makes
perfect for all these get-togethers we're talking about.
Yes. And we usually have, like on coffee hour, we pretty much have a standard meal. It's the same every Sunday. It
makes it easy to execute.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's pretty simple. So it's scrambled eggs and we mix. If any of you have ever been to the Breakfast Club here in town, they have a dish called the kitchen sink, which is, it's like kind of a egg scramble mixed with onions and sausage and some veggies. And so we kind of recreated that. It's a quick and easy thing to throw together on Sundays, and it feeds a lot of people. It's full of protein.
So do you do this in place of lunch?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So after church.
So it's really a brunch lunch.
Right.
That's easy and fun. Everybody loves that kind of food.
Yes. And in the summers, we just do it out on the Blackstone griddle. And so that makes it easy. And Dad can get involved in that, which is nice. He can help throw that together. And then we do yogurt and fruit and granola. And then we usually have some type of bread, bagels, English muffins or sourdough. Yes. And jam and butter. And it's pretty simple. And then coffee. And so we'll usually after church, everyone meets in the living room and we gather and we talk over the sermon and everyone shares. A lot of people are coming from different churches, but everyone's sharing about the sermon. And
so they have to listen pretty intensely to be able to comment. So you better know what your preacher was saying. You can't zone out.
That's right.
You got to say what really meant a lot to you.
Right. Yes. Right. And so, but it's pretty standard. And so it's pretty easy for the girls now just to know what to do.
This is what we're doing as soon as we get home. We're whipping up that egg casserole or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. What are you good at cooking, Courtney?
Well, I would say Trinity's more on the creative side of like, she's really good at coming up with the recipes or, putting together the menu. And so I kind of just carry that out, whether that's grocery shopping, making the food at home. And I do enjoy a good charcuterie board. So, for different dinners that we'll put on, sometimes a charcuterie board is really nice to have at the beginning. And so that's something I can put together. People can eat while we're, still prepping dinner. So that's been really enjoyable. But because we kind of have a standard menu for midweek meals, we'll have our main dish and then things like a salad or veggies and then bread of some kind. And so because it's become such a habit over the years, we are able to kind of put together those dinners or brunches or whatever it may be pretty easily, just because we kind of have a habit of what we like to have out, what our table looks like and how it's set and what things are expected to be out. And so I think just because it's become a habit over the years, it's something me and Trinity can put together really quickly. So
y'all are making me miss my kids. All of mine are grown and out of the house, except for the very last one. He's 18, but he's pretty much, he's doing his thing. He's in college and has lots of responsibilities and a job and all that. But I had one girl, and she was my right-hand man. And now I'm like, I remember all those days of her just, I'm making homemade donuts or I'm making cupcakes and then she's setting the table and whatever else. We would always work together. Of course, the guys would jump in sometimes too on the cooking, but especially I could get them on the cleaning.
Right.
That's kind of our
that's kind of our
I
thing.
need you to go scrub the bathroom down. Now it's, I do have Max to help me, but a lot of those tasks that would be really fun to pass to a daughter, I'm like, oh, okay, what do I want to do to set the table? I don't feel inspired. That's wonderful to have your
Yes,
girls to
I'm
help
very
you.
thankful. I know it won't always be, but yeah.
One
we're
day the
making most of it.
grandbabies will come along and be old enough to help.
There you go.
I do remember somebody was on the podcast one time that was talking about how she does have her granddaughters come over and help. And it was such a fun time. They would do the different tasks like setting the table and writing name cards. And one day, I'll do that.
Little Lucy.
Yes. Is that your grandbaby's name?
Yes, we only have one girl right now, so she's the oldest.
And four
And four boys.
grandsons.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so fun. Okay, well, moving on to one of the best questions that everyone loves to hear is a favorite menu. You mentioned a brunch, which if you're willing, I'm definitely going to have to get this brunch casserole because it sounds like it would feed a crowd and just be really hearty and delicious. But is there another menu that you would serve when you're inviting people into your home? A favorite?
Yes, I would say the girls would probably say two of their favorite soups that we do. And I do a lot of soups because I find they're also very nourishing, especially when I do homemade broth. And I can throw a lot of vegetables in there, which I feel like most kids might not usually eat, but when it's in soup, they usually eat it.
Mm-hmm. And college kids need vegetables.
Yes. And also, I find that there's a lot of people with allergies, but I can often do a soup that doesn't, that's a gluten-free. And so it feeds everyone, and I don't have to make something separate. Or if I do end up putting like a noodle in it or something, I can remove some of the soup, and then I have some other things that I'll do to doctor it up. But
Well, another thing about soup here year round, you can get by with soup. There are a couple of weeks in the summer that gets really hot, but around here, nights, evenings are cool.
yes,
Which anyone listening from the South has no idea what I'm talking about. I don't know if I've told this story on here before, but I remember Belle, my daughter-in-law's sister Jemima, talking about taking a trip to the South, and she was in a hotel room, and maybe there were a lot of people in there and visiting, or maybe some sort of get together, and it's just really hot, and she's like, I'm just going to walk out on the patio and get some cool air. And she opened the sliding door and walked out. She said, I almost panicked because there was no change in temperature. It was as hot outside as it was inside. And around here, you're used to being able to cool off in the evenings, open the windows, open the doors. And even in the summer, it can get cool. So
yes, it can.
it's nice that you can serve a soup for a long time around here. That's a great idea.
At that first year we were here in Moscow, the 4th of July, we were wearing winter coats watching fireworks. So,
Yes.
It takes a while to get used to.
yes.
Right. Oh, it does. I remember freezing my first year here so many times because I was not prepared for the sudden drop in temperature. But anyway, okay, so a soup. What's one of your favorites?
So the chicken and dumplings, I would say, is a favorite.
Definitely.
Trinity always requests that for her birthday.
Yep, every year.
That's pretty impressive. If you're requesting it for a birthday, that's up there.
And then beef bourguignon soup is also probably up there. That also gets requested. I would say those are probably our two favorite soups. And then we often do a salad. I'll do a soup and then a salad, typically a balsamic vinaigrette dressing with apple slices, nuts, feta cheese, goat cheese, something similar. But usually it's a balsamic. We do a lot of balsamic vinaigrette dressings. And then we always will have sourdough. It's always best when it's warm. And so, to try and time it up, baking it shortly before the guests arrive. So it's warm when we serve it. But if not, I might make it that morning. So it's made ahead of time and then stick it back in the oven to warm it up. And then recently, because of allergies, we have been trying to cut down on sugar. And so instead of having a dessert, I'll buy oranges or clementines and just put a bowl of oranges out or clementines. Before those days, we typically did chocolate chip cookies or Rice Krispies was a quick, easy dessert that college kids all seem to really love. So,
Oh, those are great ideas. And this is perfect because your episode, of course, is coming out in the wintertime. So 2 brand new soups. I've been seeing people on Facebook conversations asking that question. Tell me your favorite soups, because we kind of all get tired of what's in our own, rotation. It's like, I needed some inspiration. I need something new. So these both sound delicious. I cannot wait to try them. When you're serving a crowd, how do you execute the service? Like, are you having everybody sit down and you pass this big pot of soup around? Do you have everybody go through the kitchen? How do you do this on a big scale?
Well, when we first moved into our house, I was thinking about that, and my husband graciously built me a built-in buffet. So we got some cabinets from Home Depot, some standard cabinets, painted them. They're tall wall cabinets, and we have 2 rows, one on the bottom and one on the top. They serve as a great place to store all of my serving dishes and pieces and glasses, but it also has a countertop. And so typically we put all the food on that, and it's fairly long. It's at least 10 feet long. And so
that's amazing.
Yes.
I may have to get a picture of this just so we have a visual. We all might need our husbands to build something along these lines.
It is wonderful.
Because then it is a buffet, but it's beautiful. It's right there. If you need to jump up and say, grab some more shredded cheese or whatever, it's easy. You're not having to go off into the kitchen where maybe you don't want them to go if it's a disaster zone.
So yes, I think that makes it really easy to serve. And I typically will just put the big pot of soup there and let people serve themselves and just get in line. And then we have a very long table with benches, which allows for, I think, more seating. You can fit more people around a table when there's benches versus chairs. They're not quite as comfortable, but we're able to fit a lot of people around the table.
Okay.
And if we need more seating, then we've got card tables that we'll set up and just add on, make it longer.
Okay. So, Trinity, if you're greeting guests and you have benches set up, a lot of times people might find their spot and hang their purse and their coat. But if it's a bench, what do you do with all of the items?
So at our house, we have like coat hangers that are built right next to the door when people walk in. And
like
so,
pegs?
Yes,
Okay.
pegs. Yes.
Hooks.
So they'll put their
hooks.
shoes and coats there just because everybody else's is there. So they know where to put them. And then that isn't a problem when they get to the benches. Benches are great, but they are hard to get in and out of when you have a lot of people there. But it serves our purpose well.
You have to plan, like, okay, once you're seated, sorry, you can't get up.
Yeah, that's kind of it.
Right.
And does everybody take off shoes when they come?
No.
Okay.
We
have
typically
tile.
don't require that. So we have tile floors. So most people wear their shoes, but some people just are
They
very
just kick them off and they're ready to relax and climb on the bench.
I'd say our seat holders tend to be like a drink of some kind. They'll like set their drink down where they want to sit and then go through the line. So
Okay.
I would say that's how we reserve seating.
That's a good idea. Okay, so Courtney, do y'all serve everything at once, or do you go through with salad? Like, do courses? Everybody gets their salad, or is there set up for a plate for salad and your bowl for soup all at once?
Yeah. So because it's a buffet, we'll normally stick plates at the beginning. They'll grab their plate, and then whatever the main dish is normally right there, whether that's like a soup or some sort of like stir fry or something. And then the salads kind of follow that. So we'll just normally stick that on the same plate. But if it's a soup, then we'll have salad plates out. And then at the end of the line, we'll have our bread and some sort of like jelly and butter and that kind of thing. And then the tangerines are kind of in the bowl at the end. And then we have, little tins full of spoons or whatever silverware you might need and napkins. So you just kind of go through the line and are able to grab all of that and then, set it down on the bench and either go grab a drink or you've already gotten a drink when you first came. And so then you can kind of just sit down and we squeeze people onto the bench. And that's when it's nice to have the buffet because you can say, hey, can you grab me this? I can't get up. And so it works out well.
Very fun. Okay, what is the butter solution around here? Every winter, I run into this. You mentioned butter, which I approve. I highly approve that you have butter on your buffet because there are those who have bread and no butter. I will pray for you. But it's, in the South, butter out on the counter is always soft. From what I remember, even in the winter, because your house is warm, it's always soft. Well, here it is not. You can go. In fact, this happened to me last night. We had Belle and Lex over, and before they get there, I'm trying to really quickly butter some French bread, and I kosher salt and pepper on top and throw it in the oven and broil it for really quick bread to go with soup. And I just grabbed the butter knife and tried to spread some butter, and it was just this big hard lump that just started tearing the bread. Like, what is this? I had to soften it in the microwave. So do you have a trick for that?
It's think ahead and set the butter out early. So typically, like on Sunday mornings, I'll just set a couple sticks out on the counter. And usually by the time we get home from church.
Maybe your house is warmer than mine.
It might be. Yeah, we actually keep our house pretty warm, I feel like. Dad gets cold easily. So
Dad gets cold. I get cold so easily.
I get cold. I'm the one outvoted at our house. My husband and son like it cool. And so I'm always the one having to put on a jacket or a sweater or something. Like, I'm cold in my own house. There is something wrong with this. They always say, well, you can put on more clothes. We can't take more clothes off.
true.
It's like, well, that's fair.
Okay.
I guess if you're already in a t-shirt, then okay. So, okay, well, that sounds like a very good menu, a complete menu. And I really like the idea of oranges at the end as well for something different, something light, and something sugar-free.
Yeah. And also, I think a lot of college students enjoy fruit. I don't think they often buy fruit for themselves. So,
Yeah, poor college students are cutting a lot of corners in their weekly shopping budget. That's for sure.
Another thing that we often do is stir fries, especially in the summer. We'll do those on the Blackstone. So a chicken stir fry. So we throw in like veggies and then pour a sauce. We make some kind of a sauce over that and rice. Yeah, we can buy the sauce or we can make the sauce. And it's also another gluten-free option for a lot of guests that we have over with allergies and sensitivities that works well.
That is a great option. Courtney, you mentioned buying it. What kind of sauce do you buy and where?
We'll kind of just go scavenge at Winco or Walmart. They have a whole wall of different like stir fry sauces or like peanut sauces.
In the Asian section?
Yeah, in the Asian section. So like if you go to Winco, they have a whole section of just like a wall of sauces. So kind of near your soy sauce or hot sauce. And we've used a couple. We'll kind of just mess around and try a couple of different ones and see which one we like. I think Panda Express makes some good ones that you can buy.
To be careful about the gluten. It can't have soy in
sometimes.
it. But I'm trying to think of the ones that we get.
I'm
it's
trying
more
to
like
remember.
a spicy chili or
or sometimes a peanut sauce, or if we're avoiding allergy, because of peanut allergies, it'll be some sort of
Thai.
Yeah, a Thai
curry sauce.
Yeah.
Or even we do like Indian, so like tikka masala or butter chicken sauce or something like that.
And then you mentioned meat, veggies, and rice.
Yeah.
That's a very quick and easy meal.
Yeah. And a rice cooker is great for that. And then we'll add a salad and bread also. So
From the sourdough queen. Do you have any shortcuts or time savers that you use to execute all of this for a large crowd? Because you mentioned your entire family's invited. You have 9 children. I know not everybody's in town, but by the time they bring friends or, college classmates, that sort of thing, you have a group at your house. So how do you pull off feeding that many people in a quick amount of time?
Well, a shortcut that I learned recently from Becca's cookbook, the soup slapdashery, is that what she calls it?
Maybe soup night slapdashery.
Something like that, yes. Which I laughed when I read it, but she uses frozen onions in many of her recipes.
My daughter-in-law does.
I did not realize that you could buy frozen onions until I read that. And then so that onions take a while to chop. Yes. I'm not a quick chopper. And I always cry.
That's my daughter-in-law, Serena, in the South. Yeah. She either has my son, Tim, do it when she's not in the kitchen, or she buys frozen onions and uses them.
Yeah.
She loves it, does it for everything. That's a great tip.
Yes. So that's been a time saver. The pre-chopped garlic is also a time saver because most of your soups are going to have onion and garlic in it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the frozen rice cauliflower I will use in soups also.
Does it thicken it?
Not so much thicken it, but if I'm not using like a noodle, it's almost like it tastes like rice. So it's instead of rice, it kind of gives it it does thicken it a little bit, just makes it a little heartier.
But it doesn't disappear. It still has size to it.
Mm-hmm.
That would be really healthy too. Adding an extra vegetable in.
Right.
For all those young people who need their vegetables.
Right. Hiding it in there.
Yeah. A quick plug for the onion choppers that you just smash down. I mean, you may be doing too many. I don't know if that is a thing, though. I bought one at Marshall's. I think it was $20. It was a Cuisinart. A lot of people like what's that brand?
Pampered Chef?
That's a brand. Yeah.
Is it one where it has a handle?
No. So it's like a box, and it has a grid on it, and you can get different sizes, and some are tiny or smaller and some are a little bit bigger. And so I prefer the smaller one for the onion and the little bit bigger one if I'm chopping something like bell pepper. But you just roughly chop your onion maybe in quarters or something and put a piece on there, and you just slam the lid down, which on the lid there's a grid too that pushes the onion that's on the bladed grid through, and it cuts it into perfect little chopped, diced pieces.
Ooh, wow.
That's really smart.
I know. I need to find one of those.
My favorite. I use it all the time because I'm not usually making something that requires 10 onions, which I guess bagged onion would be actually the fastest for that, because if you were just going to use a knife, that would take forever. But with this, you just put your piece on there, slam it down, put another piece on, slam it down. It's instant, and it's just the perfect. With a knife, I know there's people who have great knife skills and can make it uniform. It would take me a while. I can do it, but it's going to take a bit. So it's just so fast. I love it. So Cuisinart, and then, let me look this up because it's driving me crazy. It's literally on the website, and everyone says this brand. Okay. We're back. After much discussion and looking at pictures, I remembered, and it's on the website. It's Full Star. And with Full Star, you can get a variety depending on what you like. The one that I have honestly just comes with the grids, the food chopper. But on the Full Star, you can get a spiralizer. It just comes in with different inserts, a spiralizer and a slicer, and I think it's a slicer, just different things. I don't know all the combos you can get, but Full Star was the brand I was thinking of. But you can find them online. A Full Star is probably about $25, $30, depending on how many blades you get. The places like Marshall's and TJ Maxx often have the OXO brand, and I got my Cuisinart there for $20 maybe. So anyway, and you can get all your aggression out. If you just have some extra energy, or a kid with extra energy, or something burned and you're not real happy, just slam that thing down.
That's something that the young boys would enjoy doing.
I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. The one time Mom says you can come in the kitchen and just slam something to your heart's content. Right. Because you have to use some force to push that top down to dice your onion. Okay, so now moving on. Great time saver. Do you have any others?
I would say my second one is the Costco rotisserie chickens.
I highly second that.
Almost every time I'm at Costco, I will pick one up, bring it home, and debone it, and pull all the meat off, and then put it in a Ziploc bag and put it in the freezer to have on hand for a quick pot of soup, or throw it in a stir fry or chicken salad. But yes, it's nice to have on hand.
That is almost an instant meal.
Yes.
It's amazing when you can do that. The last time I went to Costco, my twin sister was visiting, and she went with me, and I said, I don't want to debone chicken when I get home, but I have to get a rotisserie. I really want to get two. And she promised she would do one and I would do one. So I was like, okay, I'll get two then. So now I have two in my freezer, because that's the hardest part, is getting your meat finished, I think.
Right.
It's the longest and hardest part.
Right. So yeah, on Wednesdays when we have midweek meal is a day that I babysit grandkids. And so I don't have as much prep time as I ideally would like. And so things like that really come in handy.
Yeah. Yeah. Great tip. Before we move forward, a big thank you to the sponsors for supporting today's episode. Are you looking for an impactful way to share the word with your little ones? Palma Storybooks offers engaging retellings of Bible stories that rhyme, have proportional illustrations, and directly reflect Scripture. With faith-filled content and timeless lessons, these storybooks help set your children up for success in understanding God's Word. Pre-orders are now open for Palma's newest hardcover books, Light and Life and God's Colorful Covenant. To pre-order your copies, visit palmastorybooks.com and find them on Instagram at Palma Storybooks. Are you searching for hands-on activities to help your kids explore the practical side of science? Look no further than your kitchen. Inquisicook blends food science and culinary arts into an engaging program that puts delicious food on the family table. Let Inquisicook do the teaching with lesson videos, reliable recipes, and assessment tools that put students on track for success. Their online platform is easy to navigate and optimized for mobile, so the learning experience can move from the classroom to the kitchen without a hitch. Inquisicook turns curious students into intuitive cooks, not just recipe followers. Say goodbye to the tyranny of the ingredients list and say hello to utilizing what's in season, what's on sale, or what's in the fridge. Visit inquisicook.com to view sample lessons, then check out the recipe gallery to see just how crave-worthy science can be. Trinity, do you have a shortcut that you can think of?
I would just say having a routine and expectations for the night and having it planned out so that you can delegate easily and also you're just not making stuff up on the spot. It really helps to have things planned out, especially if you have daughters who are helping you because they know exactly what to do and they don't have to wait for you to finish something and then ask you what to do. Everything just goes along really smoothly and that saves so much time.
That is a great perspective coming from the people who are helping mom, because a lot of times you've given me a task and I have to come back. You give me a task and I have to come back. It can be frustrating, but also you just have no clear vision of what are we trying to do? What are we trying to accomplish? So if you have that laid out, you can be quick and you can be helpful and not have to constantly come back and try to figure out what the game plan is if you already know it. So that's a great tip.
And it's helpful for people like, our sisters will come from their houses, they'll come early and they'll be able to ask me and Trinity what else needs done? Because me and Trinity are used to, what bowls do we use when we serve and what still needs to be out. And so it's something that we can also help delegate with mom, but also we've kind of figured out, what bowls we use for this and how we decorate and how we put things out. And so that's something that we can help other people who they want to jump in, they want to help. And sometimes it can be kind of stressful to bring more people into the kitchen and help delegate there. But just because the three of us have kind of figured out a system or routine, even sometimes they don't even have to ask us. They kind of know what it's supposed to look like and they can just jump in super easily and help.
Okay, Courtney, tell us, what do you have in stock? I mean, I'm kind of thinking every time y'all set a table, it's absolutely beautiful. So what are some of the things that you know are there in your mom's cabinet or drawers or whatever? What are you pulling out? If someone was thinking, okay, I need to collect some things, I need to slowly start purchasing some things, what would you suggest?
Yeah, so a couple things that we use pretty much anytime we host something, we have baskets, and then mom has bought some sort of decorative towel or something, and that is a really simple way to, all of your bread goes there. All of, you just put a little towel in the basket, throw your bread in, stick it out. And so things like a bread basket and like a towel, I think that's something that really easily dresses up your presentation. We bought little tins, probably from the dollar store, I'm thinking. They were super cheap, little metal
Chargers? Are you talking about the
no,
chargers?
they're like a metal tin, and that's what we put our silverware in, and that kind of helps. Sometimes if we're doing a nicer dinner, we'll actually set the table if we know the amount of guests. Other times we'll just throw our spoons in one tin, our forks in the other tin, and knives, and then we set those out, and people can take as they need. And then we've kind of invested in some, I would say, different size dishes, but we've bought in a couple different types of them of the same size. And so that's something where it's like, okay, if we're doing a buffet and cheese needs to go out, we always put cheese in this bowl. Or, we need a bigger size for something like chips or something like that. And so I think Mom's done a really good job of finding really cheap but still decorative different bowls or different things, so that when we put stuff out to serve, it looks like there's been a lot of effort and it looks very put together and very nice, even though we've been able to kind of stockpile certain little dishes or tins. And then something Mom also was mentioning earlier was chargers. We found them at Dollar Tree for like $1.
Wow.
And you can get them in gold or silver, different things. And that's another way to really elevate the dinner that we put together. Stick a charger under our normal looking glass or china plate. And that can also elevate your decorations.
And you would do that if you were having a specific number of people and setting the table. That would make it look really nice. What is your favorite place to shop? Do you have a suggestion? Where do y'all look for things?
Probably Marshall's is where we get a lot of our table decor and even some of our serving dishes. But one of the things I recommend is like post-holiday sales. You can get a lot
fabulous idea
of seasonal decor that you can keep on hand. And so I've pretty much collected, quite a few Thanksgiving pieces. So if I don't have time to run out and get fresh flowers, I do have some things like right now this year, it's pumpkins, and we have some like woven pumpkins and kind of wool felted pumpkins on the table. And if you throw some greenery, you can go out in the yard and cut some greenery or get some leaves. But yeah, I try and do something seasonal to decorate the table. But even in the winter, it's so fun to just chop some pine branches off the trees, and it really does add a lot to the table.
So you're definitely setting a centerpiece in the table before everybody sits down. I mean, you may not have the table set, but you're trying to do a seasonal look in the center.
We always do some kind of a decorative centerpiece, even if the table isn't set. And then another way to elevate easily is cloth napkins. And it can be daunting to wash them afterwards with lipstick stains and all of that. But I found these napkins. They're 100% polyester, but they look like linen. And they wash so easily and they don't wrinkle. So I use those a lot if I'm trying to elevate, because it looks nice, but they're actually super easy to clean.
Was this a Marshall's find?
It was, yes. Or it might have been TJ Maxx.
May not
in
be
Seattle.
something we can repeat.
I wonder if they sell them on Amazon. I don't know.
You could probably find them there.
Yeah. Does polyester absorb? Like, does it feel? I mean, obviously, if you use them all the time, you like them.
Yes.
I mean, sometimes I've had polyester that it feels really silky and strange.
They feel a little bit plasticky.
I was going to say.
They don't look like it, but they feel a little plasticky. I don't know. They're not great absorbers. No. It's more about the look.
Yeah. I mean, if you need to wipe off some food off the face, it works
it's going to work.
But
Exactly.
you don't clean a water spill with them.
Right. So. I mean, honestly, napkins are more for just a quick little dab. It's not like you're really mopping up some spill or tucking it in your shirt collar.
Yeah, right.
Like back in the day. Do Europeans do that? I don't know. Maybe that's just a trope.
Yeah. Something we learned in movies.
Right. Something we saw in movies. Okay. What is your best advice for making people feel welcome when they come into your home?
Well, the girls really now are great baristas. So we have a coffee machine and they have learned how to do lattes very well. And so often, as soon as people walk in, they will ask them if they'd like a latte or Americano.
Those college kids are running to your house.
Yeah, we invested a couple years ago for my dad. We bought him, he was really into coffee, so we bought him one. But now we kind of have a drink station with a box of teas or, a tea kettle, and then our coffee. And then we also have a drink fridge, which we normally just keep like seltzer water or a Spindrift or something. And so you walk right into the house and you're right in the kitchen. Our kitchen's right next to the door that people come into. And so it's something where we can still be making food, but hey, would you like a coffee or a tea or something like that? So.
And I can attest that their home and their kitchen is beautiful. So having it right next to the dining room and somebody coming in for a coffee wouldn't bother them at all. It's an easy flow into another beautiful room. So having your coffee bar in there makes sense. And having a drink fridge in there makes sense too.
Yes, that's one of the nice features. We've never had that, but had that before, but this house has it, and it is really nice that we can just tell people to help yourselves. And often if there's little kids coming over, we have it stocked with Capri Sun because they love those.
They do.
Yes. And Courtney mentioned the charcuterie too. So we often have charcuterie out for people to snack on. My husband is very hospitable. He is a great welcome wagon, and so is Deacon. So Deacon makes all the little kids feel right at home.
We'll probably ask you to go see his room or our kittens or our bunny. He'll bring you right on into the house and make you feel at home.
Entertaining you as soon as you walk in. He's got something for you to do.
Absolutely.
We have kittens on a regular basis, so that is something that always breaks the ice for little kids. So especially,
So much fun.
And then we also have, I don't have, Deacon's now 10 years old, but I've kept a lot of his toys. So we've got all the Duplo Legos. We've got a box of Thomas the Train building set. We have a box of Calico Critters and a house for the girls. We have a box of dolls.
Magnetiles.
We have a box of Magnetiles. So in our previous home, we had a full basement, and it was kind of the kids' playroom. And fortunately, in this house, it's a ranch, and we don't have that space. So I keep all of those toys in bins, and they're in the garage. But when we have guests with kids over, we bring those out, and that's always fun for the kids.
Do you have a spot for the kids that you set the toys, or is it just in the living room among all the other guests?
Yeah, sometimes if we have a lot of guests, I might put them in our guest bedroom for them to play with. If they're little kids that want to be close to their mom, then I can bring them into whichever room their mom is seated in.
So they can a little bin next to them.
Right. So they can be comfortable next to mommy. Or, I'll put them, if all the adults are in the living room, then I might put the toys in the family room, and they have a little more space to spread out there. Yeah. So it just depends.
Courtney, do you have anything to add to that?
I think my dad would appreciate us saying this, but he loves music. He loves a good jazz. He always has music on in the house, and so we've put a speaker in our living room, which is right off the kitchen. He likes to turn on some sort of smooth jazz or some sort of fun music so that when you walk in, it's a little bit more lively of a space that you're walking into. We're normally working in the kitchen, so, we're right there, but there's also some sort of music playing in the background, and so I think that also kind of just helps the atmosphere.
That does. I've had other guests recommend that, and that's something I forget and need to remember because it does. It makes it festive, and it's just not dead silent if there is dead silence. If somebody's awkward and doesn't know something to say, it's just something fun in the background.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's a great idea.
Trinity, you also said something when you walked in that your favorite thing to do is to turn on the...
Oh, I love turning on the fireplace when we have guests. It just makes things very cozy and inviting, which obviously... not everybody has that option, but candles also just wherever they are in a room just make people feel very cozy. So we like to turn on our fireplaces. That's my one thing that I do every time.
That is a great idea. And I'm guessing it's in the living room.
Yep.
Do you have favorite spots for candles? Do you put it with the centerpiece, or where are some of the spots that you would tuck a candle and light it?
I think there's no bad spot for a candle, but
It can be everywhere.
Yeah. We just have our regular tall candles. I don't know what they're called, stick candles on our table.
Maybe tapers or something.
Yeah. But for a scented candle, after we clean the kitchen, if it is clean, we'll put a candle there on the counter, or just around the house to make things smell nice
On
and
the
look
end
pretty.
tables.
Yeah,
Sometimes
on
we put them on the
tables.
end tables.
And also something we'll do to like decorate the middle of our table is we'll get little votive candles. I think we found these at Dollar Tree, just like little clear glasses, and then you buy the really cheap little
tea candles.
and just using those to light the table. Sometimes you can have the tall tapers or the little ones, and I think that also kind of helps light
Have
the
it on
space.
different levels.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. What are your must-have kitchen items?
Well, I did bring one to share.
Okay.
And I actually can't take credit for this one either. It is something I learned since I've been here in Moscow from Katie Grauke.
She does the catering here, or has a catering
Yes.
business that she runs and has for years. So
Fresh
she would
catering.
have
Yes.
all kinds of great ideas.
But it is a digital food thermometer. And I don't know how I survived without this for like 20 years, 25 years. But it has a probe on it. So you set it to the temperature you want your meat cooked, and the timer goes off when the meat reaches that temperature, instead of just setting a timer. And the old way I used to do was just cut into everything to figure out if it was done or not.
And then
But
you lose your juice.
Right.
And it dries it out because it's not done. Now you have to put it back in, but you have this big gash in it.
Yes. So I have found this to be so helpful, and my meat turns out so much better.
Okay.
Um,
Tell us the brand.
So it is Therm Pro digital food thermometer. I think it's like $14.99 on Amazon.
What?
Yes.
That's it?
That's
I was
it.
thinking that was one of the real expensive ones.
No.
I will have to make sure that this link is on there. I know I've had Katie on the podcast before, but I don't remember what her favorite item was. If it wasn't this and it's not on there, I will definitely put a link to this on the shop page, but also under Ginger's blog post so that you can see exactly what we're talking about for $15.
Yes, it's definitely worth it.
That is definitely
Yeah.
a great purchase.
Yes.
I'll go to other people, like friends' house, and we'll make something, and I'm like, oh, I don't know how to make meat anymore. Like, I need my
Where's your
thermometer.
digital thermometer?
Yes. I would also say my 20-quart soup pot is a must-have. It's a nice blue color. It's very pretty too.
That's so cute.
Okay. Well, if we can find it, then I'll put a link to that too, because I'm thinking stainless steel and just a stock pot type thing. But yours is pretty.
It's enamel over stainless.
Okay.
And it's a pretty blue color. It comes in many different colors, but
I have
yes.
to put a link to this too. Now I'm adding to my wish list.
And another thing we like is parchment paper.
But you can buy it like pre-chopped
The
in the big
sheets.
sheets, and those are really handy. I often would be like, hey, boys, can one of you go grab me some parchment paper? And they can just pull out a sheet and then.
And it's flat. It's
Yep.
not rolled on the edges, which just is
Yes.
so annoying.
Yeah.
I have the roll, which I don't mind. It's made in France and I don't know, unbleached and all this fancy stuff. But every time I try to use it, I'm having to take all four corners and mess with them and try to keep them from rolling in or out or whatever. So a sheet would be something I need to invest in.
We bought it at a food supply store.
Yeah.
I think it's like a box of like
US
1,000
Foods
or something.
Yeah.
So it lasts forever.
It does. It's lasted for a long time, but it just makes cleanup easier.
It does save so much scrubbing when it comes to pans.
Yes.
Baking sheets. Okay, girls, do y'all have anything else that you would throw in there from all of your sourdough baking or charcuterie boards? Do y'all have a favorite must-have kitchen item besides the ones that your mom's mentioned?
I would say a good Dutch oven is so versatile in any cooking. We make our egg scramble in a Dutch oven most Sundays if we don't use the griddle.
Okay.
And then we use it for sourdough, and you can make soups in it. And I feel like it just cooks everything so well. They're very pretty as well. And they're just so versatile. They're great for really anything you need.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite brand? I mean, seeing as how we're talking about like specifics, or it's just kind of like whatever, as long as it's a good one that works.
I think we have a couple different brands.
Yeah, we have 3 because we do so much sourdough. And
They're all different brands.
yeah, Mom does a great job finding good ones. So I just use
You're
hers.
happy with all of them. What about you, Courtney?
I'm trying to think.
When you serve your charcuterie,
I
do
would
you have
say
any favorite tools? And what do you put on your charcuterie board?
Something, I think we have just a couple like wooden platters of some kind. So you can, depending on how many supplies, you can vary the size. So we have some small ones, we have big ones. And then also we will sometimes do a really, really big one if we have a big group coming. And so we'll just put parchment paper down on a card table or on the island, something like that.
Idea.
And you just, you don't even need a platter. And some things that we just generally keep on hand, I would say Costco cheeses are really good you can buy like a 3-pack of Bourguignon cheese or a block of Gouda. And so I think Mom does a really good job of kind of keeping those in the fridge at all times. And then you can buy packs of salami there. You can just lay those on there flat or, make a rose with them. You can be as decorative with those as you want.
Courtney's good at roses.
I do like to do the roses.
Of course.
And then we always have, again, Costco's a really good hack for this, but some sort of like dried fruit or nuts. And then you can, because we have different allergies or, people's trying to stay from sugar, we normally just do like a salami, so some sort of meat, cheese, and then we'll have nuts and dried fruits or fresh fruit as well and scatter those around to make them look really pretty. And then I would say on times when the main focus is the charcuterie or we have bigger things, we'll go somewhere like Winco where it has a bunch of just random bulk things that you could buy, little chocolate covered almonds or mini Reese's cups or different things like that. And that's when
pretzels.
Yeah, yogurt covered pretzels, something like that. Where
depending on the crowd.
Right,
like if
depending
it's kids, we'll use the bulk section of Winco and find some
fun,
creative fun.
Yeah, or banana chips or something like that. And then you can kind of scatter them on as you have space. And then I think something that's also fun is we found like little, what are they called? Our little bowls.
Carafes?
I think I know what you're talking about.
Ramekins.
Ramekins, yeah. Yes. Using ramekins, I think that kind of helps elevate like space. So sometimes if you have a whole board, instead of just laying everything on there, it can be fun to put some things in a little ramekin and then have your crackers around it or, something like that. So kind of toying with the space and sizes and all of that as well.
Yeah, having some level to it. And then a ramekin, you can put a little spoon in and scoop stuff out. Like if it was maybe something moist, like a jam olive or a jam or a pickle or something like that. So great ideas. I'm really getting hungry. These are fabulous ideas for having people over. I really appreciate you sharing all of them with me. Do any of you have a story from all of your years of hosting? It can be funny or otherwise, but just something that might have happened when you were having people to your home.
I have one.
Okay, this is Trinity. Tell us your best story.
So one Wednesday, we were planning on hosting midweek meal, and I was just starting to get the things ready. So I was at home by myself, and Mom was picking Deacon up from school. And we had a dust storm come, and it knocked out all the power in our house for the entire night. And luckily, I was already cooking, so the stove was ignited, and so we were able to cook the meal, but we had no lighting. And so all of our guests still came over, and we had dinner by candlelight. On our table, we put out fairy lights and all of our candles, and we probably had, I think, 17 to 20 people, and we all ate by candlelight, and it was one of the funnest dinners, and it was just
it's one they'll never forget.
Yeah, just doing what you can and still having people over, even though we didn't have power. And it was so fun, and it worked out great, and it was just a great experience.
That's great. And yeah, a story that shows if you just keep a good attitude, you can still make it work, even if it's not how you had it envisioned.
I have an interesting one from about 15 years ago when we lived here in Moscow. We were just here for a year, and we invited our Pastor Wilson and Nancy over for dinner for lasagna. And I was really nervous about having them over and, anxious and wanted everything to be perfect, of course, and put the lasagna in, set the timer. The timer rang. I went and I checked it. It wasn't quite done. So I set it for another 5 or 10 minutes. I can't remember. Came back and was going to open it to look in and check it. And I couldn't open it. The door was locked.
Oh, no.
And I called Jason and I said, can you open the oven door? I don't know why it's not opening. And he came over and was yanking on it, couldn't get it open. And then he looked up and he said, it's on self-clean mode. And I said, oh no. So I don't know if one of the kids touched it or if I accidentally touched a button. But what I learned is that when it's on self-clean mode, it automatically locks and there is nothing you can do.
For a long time.
For a long time. And so we tried canceling, but still would not unlock the door. We pulled the oven out into the middle of the room to unplug it. And that didn't make a difference either. And so what we realized that was until the temperature gets to a certain level, it won't unlock. And so we all sat around watching it burn.
That's terrible.
Until it lowered the temperature enough where we could open the door. And by that time, probably the top 2 layers of the lasagna were black and crisp.
Oh, no.
And Nancy and Doug were very gracious guests. And Nancy said, just peel it off.
Eat the middle.
So that's what we did. We took the top layers off and we ate, of course, it tasted a little blackened. But we ate salad and bread and burnt lasagna. And I think the day before we had picked cherries, and so we had made a homemade cherry cobbler. And so I think we filled up on cobbler and ice cream. And Nancy was very sweet and asked for the recipe and said that it was very good. But I was a little traumatized.
I can imagine. Oh, that just is a small nightmare that something like that's going to happen right when you invite important company over.
Right.
And then it does. But, again, your story shows we can recover from it. You just keep going forward. You eat the middle of the burnt lasagna and fill up on the other stuff. Did you cook your cobbler after the lasagna? I would be scared to even turn the oven back on.
Well, thankfully, I had cooked that earlier in the day, so it was already done, thankfully. But that is never happened since, never happened before. It was just one of those moments, but we still look back and laugh.
Yes, I can imagine.
Yes.
Now that you're done crying, you can look back and laugh. There's a different sort of tear in the eye. Wow. Okay, Courtney, can you top that?
I honestly, I'm trying to remember.
No disasters that you can...
Not really.
Or sweet memories. It can be a sweet memory like Trinity's. It's okay if you don't have
I don't
one.
have anything.
Just know it's coming. I'm kidding. Just kidding. But actually, it's true. I mean, there's always in life, it doesn't really matter how experienced you are, because you're a very experienced cook, Ginger. I mean, you're very experienced at hospitality, and even still, you can have a burnt lasagna. So
that's right.
You just have to pick yourself up by the bootstraps and just keep going
just
with a
gotta
smile
roll with
on your
it.
face. That's right. Well, thank you so much, ladies, for coming and for being on the podcast. I appreciate all of your recipes and tips and just so much of the wisdom that you shared with us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, thanks
This
for
was so
having
fun.
us.
Until next time, bye for now. Stay tuned for some bonus content. I usually put the bonus content over at patreon.com. If you search for Come Over for Dinner, you'll find a bonus question there that I ask all of my guests, if I remember. What is a favorite tradition in your family any holiday? And it's been really fun to see all of their different ideas, the different holidays they choose, and the fun traditions that they share. It's actually really inspiring. So I'm posting Ginger's answer here. She has more than one idea, one from each of the girls. You're going to be inspired by both. One more note, we did this over Zoom later after I had done the original podcast, so I apologize for the difference in sound and the difference in quality, but stay tuned. You're going to love this part of the episode. I'm back with Ginger Elmore, and she's going to answer my bonus question. What is a favorite tradition in your family any holiday?
Well, I asked the girls, and we had two different responses. So Trinity said that her favorite holiday tradition was on Christmas Eve when we attend the Christmas Eve service at church, and then we all come back to the house and we create the biggest charcuterie spread of the year with all of the holiday sweet and savories from your peppermint bark to chocolate truffles and all of our favorite holiday cheeses.
That is a great idea. This is when you probably aren't even using platters. You're just making a charcuterie board on the entire table or counter or something like that.
We use the island, our kitchen island, and we just put down parchment paper, like a natural color parchment paper, and then put it all on there.
And this is where her recommended item, one of the recommended items that she or her girls mentioned on the podcast episode she did, was the flat sheets of parchment, which keeps it from curling on the end. So this is perfect. Another use for it. Create a charcuterie board.
And actually on this one though, sometimes, so the parchment paper sheets that I have are big, they're white. But sometimes I like to use the natural color when I'm serving it. It kind of gives it that woody look.
Yes.
And so I actually, when I do it on the counters, will sometimes use that natural colored or like a light brown
unbleached or something they call it.
Yes. So anyway, that is a fun tradition. And then after that, we all go into the family room, and that's when all of the siblings exchange their gifts because we do a name draw, and they each have kind of a secret sibling, secret Santa. So that's the evening. That evening is devoted to them exchanging gifts.
That is such a great idea.
And then Courtney's response was a pie competition that we do around Thanksgiving. Well, that's part of our Thanksgiving tradition. But it is actually another copycat from an amazing hostess and friend, Valerie Wentz. She was brave enough to invite our family over for the first Thanksgiving here in Moscow when we were away from our family and all our old traditions. And one of the things they said they do is a pie competition, and they encouraged whoever wanted to participate to make their own pie and bring it over to their home that day. And so anyway, there were a lot of pies because she has, I think, 4 girls. And then some of their girls were making pies, and they also invited some other people. So there were quite a few pies. And almost all of my kids decided to make a pie. And
had to jump in on the fun.
Yes. Maggie actually had an edge because she had some pie making lessons from your daughter-in-law, Belle.
Yes. Belle, that's a funny story because she did do bluebell pies, I think it was called, in college. And one time she made a peach pie, and I saw the box in my son's refrigerator where he was at. I'm like, okay, thanks for getting serious.
That's funny.
I got, for the first time ever, I'm going to have to ask my son, can I have some of your pie?
Yeah, that's so great. Yeah, she taught Maggie, and Maggie's actually relayed some of the teaching and instruction to Courtney and Trinity now, but we have Belle to thank for that. So anyway, Maggie ended up winning the pie competition at the Wentz's house.
I feel like Belle would be proud right now.
Yes.
My pupil has attained perfection. That's really a great idea.
Yeah. So anyway, the next year, even though we had it at our own home, all of her siblings wanted a rematch. And so anyway, ever since then, it's kind of stuck. And the best part about it is there is so much pie left over.
Everyone has no shortage of dessert.
Right. Everyone comes back the morning after Thanksgiving, and we have pie for breakfast and coffee. So
such a fun tradition.
makes the holiday last a little bit longer.
And that's when everybody kind of switches into Christmas mode. So that's a fun thing to think about after Thanksgiving. I'm sure people are Black Friday shopping or thinking about ideas, and Christmas music might be playing. It's just a fun thing to think about doing something the morning after with all the leftover pie.
Yes.
What pies do you usually see? Have you had any crazy ones, or are they more traditional?
We have quite a few different fruit pies, and everyone wants to do their own thing. So already we've had people putting fruit in the freezer for the pie competition because
They're
um,
claiming their space already.
yes. We have sliced peaches for a peach pie that someone's planning. And we also have some rhubarb that was frozen from the farmer's market this
Yeah,
summer.
that's smart because
Yes.
you have to get your fruit in season for it to be sweet and to win the
Right.
contest. You're not going to win a contest going and buying peaches in the store right now.
Yeah. So we've had some last year, the banana cream was a favorite. It's always fun when the boys get in on it.
Yes.
And they cook. Jace made a pecan pie last year that was really good. And then one of the guys he was on keto and he made a keto pie, which was interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's fun when the guys get in on it to see what they come
Yes.
up with. So, yeah.
Okay, so how does the judging work? If everybody's doing a pie, who is the person who gets a bite of each pie and does the final decision?
Yes. So we let the patriarchs.
The ones who are not baking the pies.
Yes. So anyway, when we were at Valerie's, Mark did the judging. And so Jason does the judging along with, we usually have some other guests that aren't related.
Mhm.
And so someone that didn't bring a pie, usually a guest, will also help. So
Do they get a little spoonful of each pie, or how do you keep from being too
yes.
full? I mean, you obviously
No.
just like a bite of each one.
It is. It's a bite of each one. So, yes.
Such an incredible tradition. This is going to inspire all of us to try both of these, actually. This is just a whole weekend full of fun.
Yes.
Well, thank you for sharing. After Ginger answers my bonus question, of course, we keep talking. Imagine that. So stay tuned yet again. This part is where Ginger dives back into talking about what it's like to train her daughters and see the fruit of that training after many years, and why it is so worth the time and effort that you put into it.
Okay. So I hadn't mentioned my older three daughters or my daughter-in-laws in the podcast. And I just wanted to mention them because about 10 years ago or less, they were the ones that were in Courtney and Trinity's shoes.
Right.
And they were just as capable, although it looked a little bit different as we were in a different season of life. It was simpler in many ways. We had fewer resources, of course, then, and we were mostly entertaining young families with lots of little ones. And the girls were carrying babies around and painting fingernails and braiding hair of all the little girls who came over.
Oh, everyone wanted an invitation to the Elmore's
Yes.
house.
They were organizing lots of games to make sure all the kids had fun. And Kelsey was really great at baking cakes, and Whitney specialized in cinnamon rolls. And Maggie was just in charge, if you know Maggie.
Which she currently works at the White House. So if that tells you anything, yes, she
Yes.
can definitely be in charge of things, get some organization done.
Absolutely. She was always telling everyone what to do, which turned out to be the makings of a very good event coordinator.
Yes.
And she actually coordinated quite a few weddings in college.
Mm-hmm.
And she planned a double wedding for her older sisters.
That's so incredible.
Yes. I was just the assistant. So,
She was just fine with bossing everybody around, but she
yes,
accomplished great things in the process.
she really did.
Well, when it comes to
So,
weddings, people really kind of like having somebody who can take charge and they can rely on and just trust them to make it all happen.
yeah, I was very thankful for her. That's for sure. I couldn't have done it without her.
Yeah.
So it's so encouraging and fun to see your daughters and your daughter-in-laws serving alongside of you in our community, especially. I see them hosting their own Sabbath meals now and bridal and baby showers. And I love to see their names on the meal trains in our community. And similarly, Whitney and Maggie, even though they're not here, they've jumped into hospitality in their communities in Seattle and DC. And I often get to hear reports secondhand of those that have been blessed by their
Yes.
hospitality.
Yeah. And it just goes to show that all those years of training and teaching have really given them the tools they need to step out on their own and lead their own homes. That's wonderful.
Yeah, God was very kind in giving me girls whose strengths are actually my weaknesses. They are all so much more organized and much better planners than I am. And
I'm sure they learned quite a bit from you, but it does feel that way. I think,
yeah,
especially because having 9 kids, it does feel like you're pulled in lots of different directions. I'm sure it's hard to laser focus on one thing. Like I am planning this event. And so maybe they have
right.
a little more freedom to do that.
Yes, and I really do appreciate it. And I know it won't be long before I'll be taking orders from them. As our
You'll be the
family
assistant
gatherings,
again.
yes, the family gatherings are getting bigger and I can't wing it anymore.
Right. You've got to have the girls stepping
I
in and
know.
helping or even coordinating it and telling you, okay, mom, bring a salad.
Right.
So I don't think we mentioned actually Courtney and Trinity's age either. We talked about how they're still at home, but what are their ages? Courtney's
Courtney's,
graduated
yeah, she's 18 and Trinity's 16.
16. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Wonderful. They are just a blessing to not just their family, but to the community for sure. All those little girls coming over and getting their nails painted and their hair
I
done, and
know.
or Deacon showing the kittens around. I mean, all of your kids are
Yeah.
fabulous.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, it's been my prayer that my girls would stand on my shoulders and go farther and be better equipped than I was. And I certainly haven't been the most patient teacher. In fact, I was a bit of a drill sergeant in the kitchen.
I'm sure they've forgiven you many things.
I didn't enjoy the messes, and the flops were very frustrating.
Right. Because a lot of times we want to look at ourselves and say, well, I failed teaching them in some way. But honestly, that's just part of teaching is they're going to fail. There's going to be flops. There's going to be
Right.
messes. There's going to be somebody dropped something. And it's just part of learning to
It
do it
is.
better.
It is part of it. Yeah. But thankfully, God blesses our meager efforts.
Mm,
And I feel like my girls are much farther ahead of where I was at their age.
yeah.
It does take an effort to train. And many times, I think the temptation is to want to do everything ourselves because it's usually quicker and easier and less messy. But the day comes when you really will need their help.
Mhm. And what you said is only true for a short time. It is easier to just do it yourself and faster, just do it yourself, but only for a short time. If you actually train them, then as you've heard throughout the whole podcast from the girls, from the two that were there at the podcast, it quickly becomes they triple your effort. They triple the abilities because they're so capable that they can do things completely independent of mom, which is wonderful.
Yeah, it really is. I love getting their insights and just giving them something, giving them a task and then seeing what they come up with. And
Mhm.
oftentimes it's better than what I could have done myself.
It's
Yeah.
inspiring.
Yeah. Yeah. Proverbs 29:17 says discipline, but my concordance also uses the word instruct your sons or daughters and they will give you rest. They will give delight to your heart. And Galatians 6:9 also says, let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we shall reap. And one of the most beautiful gifts as a mother that I never anticipated was being a recipient of my daughter's hospitality.
Mm, yeah.
I love going to their homes, as do their sisters, who always come away encouraged and inspired and excited to follow in their footsteps. So I just want to encourage all of those moms to keep nurturing those hospitality skills and instincts in your daughters, because they are your legacy and the rewards are priceless.
That is wonderful encouragement. Your verses reminded me of a verse I looked at often when I was raising kids. There's a Proverbs that says something like, where there are no oxen, the manger is clean. Meaning you can have, and I always took this reminding myself of the messes and the messy house and picking up the books again or the toys again or whatever it was. You can have a perfectly clean home and there's no strength there. There's no oxen. There's no work being accomplished. There's nothing happening. But it's through the children that God gave you that those messes are occurring. It's because of them. And it's such a huge blessing that you have those children and work is being accomplished, teaching is happening, and you are raising up children in the nurture and admonition of the Lord who will one day stand on your shoulders, like you mentioned, and bear great fruit, just massive blessings in your life. And of course, the rest of their family. Like you mentioned, the older girls are teaching the younger girls. They're inspiring them to learn and they're growing just through their example. It's just wonderful.
Yeah, I love that verse too. It's a good one.
Well, thank you for sharing that. That's definitely encouraging to, especially the young moms, to just keep doing the hard work and keep training those kids, even though there's going to be messes along the way.
Yes, because it definitely pays off.
Yes, it definitely does. I will attest to that. I go to my daughter and son, I have 3 that are married now. When I go to their homes, I feel the same way. Like, did I teach you all of these things? No, I don't think so. You're better at this than I am. They're just, they have all these fun touches, these welcoming, hospitable things that they do. Maybe a little basket by the bed of some snacks and a drink or some flowers or just beautiful things, delicious food, whatever it is. I think, wow, they are definitely further along than I am or I was at their age. So yeah, it's wonderful to see. All right. Well, thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to follow the show and leave a review. It helps new people be able to find the podcast. And if you enjoyed this conversation especially, be sure to share it with a friend. Thank you for your time.